Did you know at this very moment someone is on Amazon and Etsy actively looking for a quality coloring and activity book to add to their shopping cart? The only question is, will it be yours? Since you're listening to this podcast, hence the name of the show, it's pretty safe to assume that you have a keen interest in creating and selling your first or next coloring book. And it's for that reason I want to assure you you're in the right place. And I'd like to help you make it a reality by inviting you to check out the Coloring Book Creator Mentor Program, the first of its kind complete A to Z course that features live weekly coaching, resources, templates, and an extremely supportive online community, all designed to assure that you create a standout in-demand coloring book that you'll actually enjoy creating, promoting, and selling. Imagine the feeling of knowing somewhere in the world someone is adding your beautiful new book to their shopping cart, investing in a piece of your creativity. Enrollment is open and you can get started by going to coloringbookcreatorcourse.com. That's coloringbookcreatorcourse.com. Welcome to this special edition of the Coloring Book Creator Podcast. Over the next 10 episodes, I'm going to walk you through a 10-step roadmap I've created called Validate Your First or Next Coloring Book Idea Before You Make It. If you listen to the previous episodes, as I've mentioned, each one builds upon the other. So in step number 5, I said or suggested that you explore collaboration opportunities and who has the attention of your ideal book buyer. And I suggested looking at online resources as well as offline resources. Now, step number 6 is going to move right into one way, just one, but it's one way to test the attention of who is in your current network, who's currently following you, more specifically on whatever social media platform that you're currently on. More specifically, I'm going to say this for this particular strategy, this leans more towards Facebook and or Instagram, although it could be also done also inside of like TikTok or Pinterest or wherever else you might happen to be. Now, this strategy I'm going to share with you is what I call a little hack in the online marketing space that I call the I'm thinking about post. Basically, an I'm thinking about post is an announcement typically shared on social media where you are introducing an idea that you are considering for a project that you're thinking about creating. In this case, in this context, a coloring book. The purpose of this post is designed to summon the attention or attract the attention of the project that you're thinking about making. The focus of it needs to be around the book that you're thinking about making, who the book is for, and how they can raise their hand to let you know if they're interested in actually getting a sample of it just to check it out. The other part of this strategy and why you want to do it is because it's a great way to call out people who may have an interest in your project before you actually build the book and start to build out the beginnings of your email list, which if you know anything about marketing online, everyone talks about it because it's critical that you build a contact list of people who have raised their hand and say, yes, I want to hear from you. So let me sort of breaking down an example of what this kind of, what I call I'm thinking about post can be, and then I'll talk about how to put it together. I'm going to go back to someone who I've mentioned several times throughout this series, Margarita Madison's book on tea and me time. And I love using her as an example because it shows you how in depth you can write this kind of post. But I want you to listen to what I'm saying. How can you take the idea that you have, or maybe what I share can inspire the idea that you have, and how you, if you had to write about this as a pitch, let's say if you were going to pitch this idea to a potential publisher, I know in 99.99% of all the situations here, you're going to be self-publishing your book. But let's look at it from a perspective of, I want to pitch this to someone to get them to raise their hand and say, yes, I want to know more about this. So essentially what this interest post is like a pitch, and you are pitching it to the people who are already in your current network people who know you personally that may seriously be interested in your book idea. So let me just recite out what the copy could be, what the language is, and then show you how to kind of break it down. In this context, her book is called Tea and Me Time. It's filled with recipes, coloring pages, and journal pages. The interest post would say this: I'm thinking about creating a coloring book or coloring activity book featuring some of my favorite heirloom recipes for some of my favorite teas, savories, and pastries. It will also include journal and coloring pages. It's perfect for tea drinkers who also love to bake, reflect, and create. If you'd like some sample pages to color, plus get a recipe for my matcha green tea shortbread, in exchange for feedback, type yes in the comments and I'll DM you a link to access them. Okay? So what's happened here is I have said what the book is, what the book will feature, and who the book is for, who it's perfect for. I'll read it one more time. I'm thinking about creating a coloring/activity book featuring some of my favorite heirloom recipes, featuring my favorite teas, savories, and pastries. And I also put an emoji in there because an emoji also helps draw the eye to the post. It will also include journal and coloring pages. So that's talking about what it is, what the features it's going to have. Then I go into, it's perfect for tea drinkers who also love to bake, reflect, and create. So that's calling out who the book is for. Then I ask the question, or I present the offer. If you'd like some sample pages to color, plus get my recipe for matcha green tea shortbread in exchange for feedback, type yes in the comments and I'll DM you a link to access them. Now, that link that I just mentioned, we're going to be talking about in the next step, in step number 7. But for right now, that's how you're going to word it. Other ways to make sure that this post gets engagement is you want to include a photo in it. So in this case, for this example, if I was going to talk about getting my recipe for matcha green tea shortbread, I would have a picture of matcha green tea shortbread. Okay. I know the book is not done yet, but I would have a picture of something visual to accompany this text so that it would stop the scroll. I'm assuming someone's looking at it on Facebook or Instagram. I want to stop the scroll. Then they're going to read this text. So the combination of the two is going to dramatically increase the chances that the person reading and looking is going to actually respond in the way that in this context she would want. By typing yes in the comments, that is now saying, okay, I have put out an offer and these people have raised their hand and said, I want to know more. Then the follow-up becomes, which we will deep dive into on step number 7, is what is that link that you send them? And it's that link that you send them that was the beginnings of creating your email list. That's what I call an interest list or an interest post. Another reason why you want to employ this strategy very early on is that it's a good way to take the temperature of your current following. And as I mentioned in episode number 5, where I talked about collaboration opportunities, this same post could be shared inside of a Facebook group as well. With the caveat I want to make sure I say, you want to make sure that you ask permission of that group owner before you post this. Do not go into someone else's Facebook group and just post something like this, because this is promotional and a lot of groups frown on that and it can get you blocked from the group. And so you don't want that to happen. So again, if you write the post, craft it, put the picture with it, put it on your own personal page, you'll see who in your current network, who actually has the ear of your audience. Then what you can do is then find groups, see if there's a match there, how you could be of service, reach out to the owner of the group or the moderator of the group, introduce yourself, and then personally share the link to that post on your personal page so they can see what you're talking about. And then with permission, maybe they will allow you to then post it in their group. And I wouldn't share it. I would make a brand new post in that group if they allow you to do that. But again, do not do this on your own without speaking with the group owner first. That'll be a fast way to get you banned from the group. So you don't want to do that. All righty. So again, each lesson builds upon the other. Go back to step 5. Go through that again if you didn't do that. Then come back to this one, step 6. You don't have to publish it yet. It's not about publishing it yet. Just craft the post. Write out what you could say, what picture could go with it, just kind of get an idea for it. And then we'll go in depth into this even more in step number 7. I'm going to go into adding another layer of social media interactivity. So I'll see you on the next episode.